Mark, thank you for joining me today.
Oh, it's great to be here, Michael. We appreciate the opportunity just to talk about what we're trying to do to get through all this and help other people maybe a little bit to give our perspective on it.
So let me ask you. I mean, I just with your practice in Orlando, both criminal and family law practice. What has been, I mean, just out of your experience over the last several weeks, since coronavirus really started to influence things substantially, and then what are some of the things you guys have been doing to adapt?
Well, what's happened is, of course, the whole system is virtually shut down. The family law system, which is, go in there and argue with judges about money and about kids and all of that is stopped except for the emergency. So in one sense, everyone, screeched to a halt and got very afraid. What's going to happen? What am I going to do? But I will tell you, something happened almost a week or two into it. This sort of almost peace came over it because all of a sudden people who would rather run to court and spend money on lawyers that they don't otherwise need to spend, they actually started realizing, I think with the advice and help of good lawyers telling them to, that they can resolve most of these things themselves. My hope might be as one of the silver linings, and I think there will be a bunch of them. One of the silver linings will be that we will turn out to be a less litigious society because we will figure out back in the corona days when we had to do this almost quote ourselves with help of good collaborative lawyers, people who talk about dispute resolution outside of a courthouse. So I think that might be one of the silver linings.
So let me ask you, for the attorneys that are watching this and thinking, well, Mark, that would be great, but I've got a business to run and hopefully a business to grow. Why do you believe that is a good thing? Just given your line of work, just in terms of why you have that perspective.
Well, because we are always going to be necessary. When someone comes to me, let's say to stay in the divorce realm, you need to figure out the asset structure. You need to figure out how to split it up. You need to figure out what's going to happen with your kids. You need to figure out alimony and support and how your future is going to be as a non-married co-parent. That all takes good expertise. What I like about that is that if we move it over to a more collaborative approach, I'm not putting lawyers out of work. I'm actually just moving them a little bit maybe to how to work a bit more efficiently and more importantly, how to work in a way that's helping their clients. Because I will tell you, when you take away that 5 or 7% of people who run to a courthouse, you still have 93% of the work to do. And you're not really losing it. If you really think about it, 2-3% of all litigation cases actually get to trial. So it's 97% of the work that is done outside the courtroom. All I'm suggesting is if we take away that 2 or 3% and take away that real adversarial focus on it, that we can really focus on helping people. When it all comes down to it, lawyers are supposed to be really good gladiators who have learned to keep most of their weapons in their little bat belt rather than, flashing them around.
Agreed. So let me ask you, over the last several weeks, what have you been up to? Meaning in terms of internally in the firm with the team, I guess, where has your focus been?
Well, and we talked about it just a moment ago before the camera started. I focused on those stages of grief as well. And, at first there was that real fear. Nobody knew what was going on except this wave of disease was coming on our shores. And it was very scary. And I had to really try and be the one who would, one, educate myself about it, find out what it is and what it's not, and then be that leader or part of the leadership team for the rest of my team to make sure that they know, look, we are going to protect your health. We're going to protect your health first of the individuals, then the health of the team. And then by doing that, we can effect a proper focus on the health of the firm. There's no question, that there's going to be a downturn in overall, or there could be a downturn in overall clients coming in, and maybe that means revenue. But having said that, I got to tell you, I've been looking at the last several weeks as a great opportunity or a number of great opportunities because we've become more efficient here. Now, everyone in the country seems to know what Zoom is and how to use it properly. So I think that's a very efficient way to interact. Even though I've never done this with clients before, we're now doing Zoom meeting with clients because we don't want them in the office and they don't want to leave their home. So now we've learned just one tool out of hundreds. We've learned to be very efficient with our time and with our clients' time. And in the same sense, hearings that are now mandated to be Zoomed hearings, how wonderful is that? I've been complaining for a decade that judges are wasting our time. I don't want to say it that way, but we are wasting our time having to run to a courthouse for a 15-minute hearing when it's an hour, hour and a half round trip. Now we sit in a courtroom, we sit in our office and can do the same thing, bill our clients just for that amount of time. But much more importantly, we can now fit in 5, 10, 15 hearings in those 2 hours.
That's great. How has the team responded?
They are responding well. They really are. Again, the ones that are here with me now are, obviously it's voluntary. Stay home if you want. We have everyone set up to go remotely. But the ones that are here now are sort of like me, want to be here because this is my environment. I just work better here in my office, and they feel the same way. So we're being very cautious from a health perspective here. And some of the team, they looked at it and they were a bit worried to begin with. I think once they realized, and once we as the leadership sort of advised or let them know what we were going to do to protect them, and plus the education of what it is and what it is not, I think calmed everybody down. So right now they're being very efficient. What's sort of good is those that have children get to stay at home with their children because schools are closed and can still be efficient with their workload, but still be there for their children and their family when they need to be, whether it's children, at need adults and things like that. So overall, I think it's worked out very, very well in some trying times.
Now, look, you're somebody who's definitely no stranger to adversity and high stress and high pressure. What are some of the things that you've been doing during this time, or any practices that you've been doing to just keep yourself engaged, focused, all these different things that you've been doing, maybe even outside of the business?
Well, it's interesting because I really thrive in adversity. I mean, people say, oh, I love being in a courtroom. I actually, if I could wake up every day and go to a courtroom, that's my nirvana. But I know that that's sort of a unique perspective. So what I've been trying to do is not only keep myself healthy, and we work out and I do my stress reduction, I do my meditation a little bit. But what I've realized was that which I took for granted, now I had an opportunity, almost a need to make sure that my team members understand that. So we've been doing some, meditation and sort of working out. We work right around a lake, so now we walk the lake maybe once a day or so. And what it really is just making sure that we get across to the team that we're here for them and we're here for their health, and doing it in a way that sort of acknowledges there are heightened stress times right now. But if you think about it, we take on other people's stress. That's what we do for a living. Now we just want to make sure that with the heightened stress that other people are going to be placing on us, that we're protecting ourselves. And I think the team's doing a very good job of acknowledging that.
So what do you think? I mean, as we mentioned like adversity, and since you're thriving in adversity, which is a great thing. I think some people are built more for like wartime than peacetime. And in moments like this where the world's falling apart, they almost feel more calm and just at home with what is taking place. That said, to somebody who's looking at this position of obviously uncertainty, confusion, what are some things you'd recommend that they not do, like ways to perhaps not respond during a time like this?
Well, here's the problem. It is very easy to fall into a stress response to stress. I always remember this one meme. It was a picture of this young girl facing away from the wind, and the hair is blowing in her face, and she's hunched over, and you can just see it's really affecting her. And then the next pane is the same girl facing the wind. Her hair is blowing behind her, and she's moving forward. And it really is a question of your perspective on what we're looking at. What you should not do, in my opinion, is freeze and, start firing staff members or start cutting hours. You have to be aware of the revenue and all that, but we are going to get through this. And if you create despair, well, you would live in despair. So my thought is understand that we're going to get through this. It is going to be a challenge from which we will come out on the other side leaner and meaner and more focused. So, be there as that person for your staff, and they will follow you. If you want to be the person who crunches over and lets their hair get all tossed up by the wind that they're hiding from, you can do that too. But quite honestly, the ones who face the wind and the ones who deal with this head on are the ones who are going to survive. And it really is a matter of perspective. My abilities, my talents are no better than these other lawyers out there. It's a question of how you perceive it. And if you perceive it as an opportunity to be more efficient, to cut away with some of the fat. I mean, I'll give you a silly example. I don't drink a lot of wine, but for some reason we got involved in a bunch of wine clubs. Well, I cut off my wine clubs. Why? Because I don't need to get half a case of wine every once in a while. That was an easy efficiency. So yeah, cut out some of the fat if you can, because this is a time to be a little bit more lean and to deal with some of this so that when we come out on the other side, both as a country, as a profession, and as a firm and an individual, you're going to come out stronger.
So the final question on this, what would be your prediction? And obviously, I mean, who knows, but what would be your prediction? You know, let's say we're looking back on this 6 months from now, and, you know, we've come out of this. How do you think the legal landscape changes?
Aside from the efficiencies that I talked about, literally, I think judges are going to be doing a lot more Zoom hearings. I think lawyers are going to be doing a lot more Zoom meetings. I think we're going to have learned to get away from some of the fat, of the profession, because we are a profession that has, certain pockets of fat in it. But I do think that those who take so looking back, it's now 6 months, and I look back and say, okay, remember back in March when this started. Here's what I predict. Those lawyers who have taken this as an opportunity and an advantage of the opportunities that exist, and those are the ones who take that leadership style to heart and really show their team that they are there for them through thick and thin. It's easy to be good to your staff when you have extra money in the account. It's a little bit tighter when you got to plan things out a little bit better, when there are some more stressors. If you can be good to your staff then, if you can show them that you're going to withstand the battle with them, those are the firms that are going to come out ahead if there's a head to be found 6 months from now, because those are the ones who are going to show their team particularly, and by the way, everybody else in the profession and the judges and all those people who look at us and watch how we respond to this. If you want to build reputation right now, you have an opportunity to build one of two reputations. Build a reputation of stress and strain and fear, and that's a reputation that judges and other lawyers will see you as, or build a reputation of strength through adversity and taking advantage of the opportunities that wind faces us. Not to overuse analogies, but when you're sailing and you got to go against the wind straight on, you tack, right? You just learn how to use the benefit and the energy of the wind, whichever way it's facing, to your benefit. And that's what will help a successful law firm be more successful.
Agreed. Well, Mark, thank you. This has been absolutely incredible. I feel, not ever to sound insensitive, but I feel like great leaders and great organizations have been given almost the ultimate gift. They have an opportunity to improve their business, improve their team, become more collaborative, be able to expand their capabilities with technology, and then also demonstrate their credibility and leadership, all these things during this time that you can really start to see some separations between businesses across the nation. Very
true. Absolutely true.
Awesome. Mark, by the way, this is awesome. Thank you.
All right, man. Thank you. Very good.
You're such a great speaker that I'm going to message the team after this, and I'm like, all right, guys, you got to listen to this Mark O'Mara thing, because there were points I was listening to that I've been doing a number of these, and there were perspectives that you shared that I've not heard before, in the sense of just the reputation you'll have within the trial community, the reputation you'll have, like all these different things. I found it's so incredibly fascinating. So just awesome. Thank you.
All right,
Thank you.
Sounds good, man. Great seeing you again. Good luck with it. I'll tell the whole team I said, hey.
Will do. Thank you, sir.
Man, be well.